subscribe. Tariq Radio. Like and subscribe.
We are in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all hop on in here and let's get it how we live, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it in. What's going on, man? Glad to have everybody in here. I thank y'all, welcome you all for joining us live right now. We are doing our thing. Everybody pop on in the room. Well, we're waiting on everybody to come in. How many folks? All right, we almost got a couple of hundred people in the first 5 seconds. I love it. That means it's going to be a good spot tonight. We're going to make it do what it do tonight. And while you guys gather in the room, it would be great if you retweeted the space. Retweet the space so we can chop up some game about this thing, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of things we're going to touch on. Before we get started, ladies and gentlemen, let me shout out some of the regulars in here. Let me give them some love real quick before we get started. Let me see who we got. We got Rod in the building. We got Delmont in the building. We got Brother Vic in the building. We got Wani, Sister Wani, the lovely Wani in the building. Everybody shout out to Wani. We got Zuri in the building, Ani in the building, Marak in the building. We got Brother Ty Powell in the building. Sexy D in the building. Who else we got? We got Miss Skyline in the building, and Juicy Genius, and Miss Nikki the God in the building. Brother Robbie Blue is in the building, so y'all know it's gonna be popping. Solon is in the building. So we're in here, ladies and gentlemen. We're here. By the way, if you are in LA or if you're close to LA, we got a fly event popping off this Saturday at the Hidden History Museum. It is going to be jam-packed in there. Tickets are going very, very fast. We're going to have a ball at the Hidden History Museum this Saturday. So get your tickets at hiddenhistorymuseum.com. Now, we got somebody named Hope who's given a lot of thumbs down. So let's see what he has to say. He's doing a lot of gesturing. Hope, hop on in here, man. Let's see what the thumbs downs are about. What's that about? Hope? Yeah, Hope, you want to unmute your microphone and speak on what's on your spirit. You're doing a lot of emoji pushing. Now you're not saying anything. All right, Hope, you didn't have anything to say, or you just had Twitter fingers. What's up, Amor? I see you, beloved. Okay. You were doing a lot of button pushing and you ain't got nothing to say. I gave you the mic and you stopped pushing the buttons. All right. So let me get you up out of here. So Brother McCall, shout out to Brother McCall. Shout out to Brother McCall. So listen, today there was a mass shooting in Madison, Wisconsin. All right. There was a mass shooting. Let me give y'all some of the details about what went down in Madison, Wisconsin at a Christian school, from what I understand. This happened at a Christian school. This was, what was the name of the school? It was a 15-year-old student at the Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin. There were several people injured. There were a teacher and another teenage student killed, and the shooter was a female, a white female. I think she offed herself afterwards. There were 6 other people injured. 2 of these people are in critical condition right now. So this white girl went to school bussing. All right. She went to school bussing on people. Her name was Natalie Rupnow. She calls herself Samantha. And some people on the right and some people online, they were trying to say that she was trans or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how accurate that is. I don't know the accuracy of that. But this white girl went to school bussing on folks, and there's an online manifesto seemingly um, authored by her. And people are trying to point out some of the feminist ideology in it. They keep talking about she hated men, and there was some stuff in this manifesto. They only showed like one page of it where she just hated men and said the world was bad because of men, and they were trying to pass this person off as some kind of radical feminist. But then when you start getting deep, you start looking at some of the other pages. Oh boy. Yeah, they were talking about one page, but yeah, they kept leaving out the other pages of this damn manifesto. And by the way, this woman had some allegedly, and I'm saying allegedly because a lot of the information is still coming out. Allegedly, she had a Twitter page, and there was some very questionable stuff on there. There was one image right before the shooting where she was throwing up the white supremacist hand sign. And the white supremacists try to deny that's a white supremacist hand sign. And I'm trying to find that manifesto. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. So the manifesto was called The War Against Humanity, the creation of a disaster and why it's so unfair. I'm gonna skim through some of it. Hatred, something that everybody has gotten. In a sense, some people think it's pure nothing, but because of the hate they make, it ends up killing them without them knowing it, which go right ahead, I don't mind, but kind of do at the same time. So it's kind of Mayo babbling. Um, I've grown to hate people. It's truly not my fault, though it never was. But all of you in the world have done to me is pick and tease me, and you push me into a corner with no help whatsoever. Humanity is filth, and I don't like filth, nor do I want to live with it or near it, nor should anyone else. And I follow, and I know it follows me and how it has followed me and will follow everyone because of how the world is run. So she's kind of misspelling a lot of stuff and saying things in a weird way. I'm trying to get to some of this other stuff. Maybe you'll see me as a weirdo or a freak or just some of you do know, but I'm not. I'm not like the others. I would never want to be like them with how they think and what they do on a simple day. I hate how the population thinks, grows, and talks, and how they make romance fake. All right. So reading through this stuff. And then it gets to revolution and population. The population of scum has been worked over the years as it did during the wars and fighting over what should be right and wrong. The sick people will dissolve into dust and be forgotten about. You will ruin the human population and turn into horrors of filth and beings that shouldn't live. She's saying a lot of nonsensical stuff. N words are the worst, though. Here we go. All of a sudden, all of this babble she's doing, and all of a sudden, she's using the N word. N words, though. She don't say N word. I'm just trying to be. I'm not trying to get a copyright ding. N words, though. Worse. Once you sleep with one, you are one. I don't care who you think you are or what you've done good for this world of yours. It will never matter because you will always have no thought and no brain to continue with. Good Lord, that came out of nowhere. Out of all this rambling, that whole little N-word thing just came out of nowhere. All of these folks, when they do their little manifestos, boy, we always pop up in these manifestos, don't we? Yeah, they write their little manifesto and then they slip some Negro hate in there. We're always the force that drives them over the edge. That's what it's really about. And family, is this a part of the Daniel Penny effect? Because listen, Daniel Penny, a suspected white supremacist, just got acquitted, and not just acquitted, praised for lynching a black man. So, family, y'all do understand that this sends a message to these other sick psychos out here. This same thing happens all the time when there's a racialized acquittal, like with Kyle Rittenhouse. That was a racialized case from top to bottom. Never mind the fact that it was two white males that were killed in that altercation. They were killed because Kyle Rittenhouse was actually targeting black people. Don't ever forget that. Kyle Rittenhouse went up there to target black folks, you see. And you got to understand, in the world of white supremacists, the only thing worse than an N-word is an N-word lover. And an N-word lover, if you can take them out, that's just as good as getting an N-word. You got to understand how the white supremacists work. So they still look at that as a racial win. You got an N-word lover. You really want to get the grand prize, but you'll take the consolation prize. But Rittenhouse, when he went over there, he was hoping to get some, quote, Black Lives Matter protesters, which he had said on video he wished he had a gun so he can knock off some of them protesters. He saw some black people protesting and allegedly looting, and he said he wanted to get his gun and pop off, which is what he did. He went up there to Wisconsin, and we have the video of him actually approaching some black dudes, pretending that he was doing medical. He was running around, "Hey, anybody need medical? Anyone need medical?" And he was running up on the brothers. Looks like Cal was trying to get somebody cornered off somewhere so that he could ambush him. This is what it was looking like. Like, "Hey, if you need medical help, come around the corner, I'll help you." And some of the people, they called him out. They saw what he was doing. Some of the brothers was like, "Hey, man, you ain't no medical. You had your gun pointed at us when we were in our car. This is on video." They were like, "Nah, get out of here, man. This guy, he's them people, man. This guy's an enemy." They were pointing to Kyle. They realized Kyle was out there trying to infiltrate their circles. That's why they started chasing Kyle, because they thought that Kyle was going to try to get up close to somebody and ambush him. That's why they were chasing him. Yeah. And they put on this horse and pony show and got him off. The media bent over backwards, the court system bent over backwards, and they let him go. They let him off. And there was a Rittenhouse effect. Do y'all know right after Rittenhouse, there were a lot of rash of mass shootings by teenagers. White teenagers started doing mass shootings left and right. We kept seeing that over and over again right after they acquitted him. Now we're going to start seeing the same thing with this Daniel Penny thing. It always happens. There's almost these copycatish types of shootings, because what happens is, look at the messaging that's being sent when you allow a Daniel Penny or a Rittenhouse, one of these suspected white supremacists, when you let them off. The first thing is, it validates white supremacist ideologies. Because remember, Kyle Rittenhouse was up here throwing up the white supremacist hand signs. He was hanging with white supremacist groups. So he was clicked in with those suspected white supremacists. And these other white supremacist teens, they see this. So it sends a message that violent actions, particularly those that target black people, can be justified and even celebrated under certain circumstances. Yeah. So these weirdo white supremacist teens, they see this and they look, hell, if I go out here and knock off some people, I can kind of be a hero. Another thing, too, the media glorification of that vigilanteism. See, the media glorifies that stuff too. The media, whenever these dudes do something, the media never demonizes them. The media makes excuses for these guys all the time. So when they want to go out and do some kind of degenerate ass mass shooting, or murder, or vigilante ambush, the media is always going to be on their side if they're white and the victim is black. They know this. They're very well aware of this. And they know that the victim's going to be demonized, not them, no matter what they do. And we see that time and time again. Even this girl who shot up the school today, they're not demonizing her. They're talking about she was mentally ill, she's troubled. They do that all the time. When that white boy shot up the school down there in Florida, he picked off a whole bunch of students. What was his name? I forgot what his name was. And they were talking about, well, he might have been on the spectrum and he had some mentally ill issues and he was a troubled youth and they did every excuse imaginable. They tried to do the same thing with Dylan Roof. Remember, they were really trying to get him off. They were trying to use the whole, well, Dylan Roof was mentally ill. He didn't know any better. He was teased as a child. And they were really trying to bend over backwards for him. But hell, he wrote a manifesto. So it wasn't like he snapped. It was definitely premeditated, pre-planned. You see? And you got to understand another thing. A lot of these major acquittals in racially and politically charged cases, that already exacerbates tensions within society. Yeah. And when we see these guys get off, that's a reinforcement of systemic bias and systemic anti-blackness and white coddling. Yeah. And again, that lets some of the white supremacists know these are signals to them. Hey, man, you can get you a free kill under the right circumstances. If the victim is black, you can get you a free kill. Yeah. And it's not deterred by the legal system or the justice system. See, when you let something go on and on and on, that just empowers the next situation. So the legal system, these people know that they're going to be covered legally. If we go out there and knock off a black person, okay, if I go to jail for a little bit, I ain't going to be in there too long. And a lot of these people, they'll shoot folks in their own community because they're already radicalized. So their mindset is already set on knocking somebody off. They've been sitting up here practicing in the woods and building up all of that hate. And the problem is they already live in these segregated enclaves, so ain't no black people there. They don't really have any black people to shoot. I notice a lot of the white supremacists try to use the excuse, well, if they're white supremacists, why are they shooting other white people? Well, they're doing it because in those places ain't too many black people to shoot. And in some places, they will find a black person, like Columbine. Yeah, they went to Target. It was only a handful of black students, and them little white supremacists went and targeted them specifically. Down in Georgia a few months ago, y'all remember? There was somebody did a mass shooting at the school. Some little white boy went up there and shot up the school and targeted a black kid, like a little special needs black kid. One of his, I don't know if it was his classmate, but he went and targeted a black kid. You understand? So yeah, they will target other white people because they don't have any black people to target there. And most of the black people, if the black people got some street smarts in them, we can sense danger. That's another thing. A lot of black people and the black students, they can kind of sense danger, especially if you're from an FBA background. When you know the when the crazy white boy look when they come in, you're like, oh, hey, there's a crazy white boy. We kind of go on alert. We already know. You know what I'm saying? We kind of know when a weird white guy walks in the room, we start whispering to each other, okay, hey man, let's watch the door, watch him. I get his legs, you get his arms. If something he looks funny, I don't like the look in his eye. They walk in with a big ass coat and just their energy and their vibe. We're looking and seeing what's going on with them. We're sizing them up. Yeah. And another thing, the reason why we see this stuff happening, this what I call the Daniel Penny effect, is because of the radicalization and influence of some of these white supremacist online communities. They don't do nothing to these radicalized white boys. Now, this girl allegedly on her social media, the signs were there. She was doing all types of weird stuff and making little look like veiled threats and admissions about what she was going to do. So these folks, these white supremacists get to sit up online and do all of this stuff. The signs are always there. Notice anytime, a lot of times when these white supremacists do mass shootings, these teens or whatever, and they catch them, just like the one in Georgia recently, he was already on the FBI list. They had already investigated this guy and investigated his family. Y'all remember? I forgot what part of Georgia this was, but I do remember that they had already checked his little old crazy ass out because he'd been saying stuff online and in schools. These these folks be all over 4chan and Stormfront and all of these white supremacist websites just cultivating these little terrorist sleeper cells. They know who these people are, but they sit up and let them do this stuff. And another thing, over in New Mexico, there was another shooting where some white boy, along with his little white Hispanic buddy, they shot a black kid. It turns out that the shooter, the teen shooter, the white boy, was the son of an FBI agent. I want y'all to look that up. That was in, I want to say, New Mexico. Y'all heard about that one? This was in New Mexico. This was the son of an FBI agent. That's interesting because remember in Buffalo, and they keep downplaying this, when that white supremacist shot up that store, the media said right before he did that, he was corresponding on one of these little low-key apps on some kind of server. He was corresponding with some former FBI agent right before he did the murder. So who in the hell is putting a battery in these cats' backs to do this stuff? So we got to look at this thing from all different angles, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very interesting dynamic. Nakeem, you're doing a lot of hand gestures, Nakeem. You want to get on? What's happening?
Yes, yes, I have a problem with your views, sir.
Okay. What is the problem with the views, brother Nakeem?
Well, sir, I think your music influences the U.S. with the gunplay, with the guns, and the yeah. I believe hip hop is one of the problems, sir.
Okay. And how is that? How is hip hop a problem?
Well, sir, every time I turn on the TV, we you guys bring out the guns. We brought the drums, and you guys brought the guns.
What happened to your accent? Your accent is going in and out. Come on now.
So I'm from Nigeria, sir. I've been living in Kansas City for about 15 years.
So you're from Nigeria with a British accent, and then your accent gets back into America, and your accent keeps going in and out, brother.
Sir, I'm FBA, sir.
All right, brother. You got to work on your material. See, you got to work on the material. Thank you, brother. All right. Come on, man. If you troll, at least, stick by one identity. He's trying to dip in and out of identities, and it's already corny. Work on your material. Let me get my brother Robbie in here. Robbie, hop in, Robbie. Mr. Robbie in the building. Robbie Blue. Yes, sir. How are you, brother?
Nah, man, you really broke it down, to perfection because there's been these slew of manifestos and they always try to downplay the white supremacist element.
Yep.
And what I find interesting is all of her hatred and contempt came from her mother and father.
Yeah.
She was talking about how she hated her parents. And notice how she had a distinction between humanity and other quote unquote minority groups. But then when it came to us, she emphasized the N word, like they are the worst. So what that lets me know is they come from a welfare system, like you say, of white supremacy. And even after that cowardly act by Daniel Penny, it's like they can't really take a victory lap because when they look in the mirror, they know they have to project all of their degeneracy and weakness onto us.
Yep.
They're the ones with the households that are in shambles. They have no excuses. They look for somebody to hate on, but what it is they see us making headway not only with reparations, but with us standing strong and being united. And they realize that when this middle class shrinks, they're going to run out of N words to blame, and now they realize they're just a social security number, and that white privilege is starting to expire. So they're going to have to deal with that. Their choice is either greed or racism. And I find it interesting that when we stand on business, you have tethers that still want to troll and be silly. Because I think you said it a long time ago, when white supremacy starts to crack down with the hammer, you either stand on business or you just start becoming extra, and I
Mhm.
stand on my plane.
There you go. Thank you so much, brother. Yeah, man. Brother Robbie touched on some real stuff right there. We got to understand something with these white supremacist suspects. We got to understand something about them. And this is very deep, ladies and gentlemen. I want y'all to understand these people are very insecure. The white supremacists are extremely insecure because, look, they know deep down that they have to depend on a welfare system called white supremacy in order for them to be sustained. They try to pretend that it doesn't exist. They know it exists. That's why the white supremacists are always trying to pretend and shout us down when we point out white supremacy. Like, what white supremacy did? Ain't no white supremacy. Yeah, it is. Kyle Rittenhouse, that case is a case of white supremacy. Daniel Penny, that's a case of white supremacy. That was white supremacy working its magic. And again, like Brother Rob said, you can't really take a victory lap because you get to be cowardly, and there's a cowardly system that's there to uphold your cowardice. So deep down, you know you're a loser. That's not nothing to brag about. You choke somebody from behind, and you know that there's an anti Black system in play that will give you a safety net for being a low life coward. These people know that they're cowardly. They know they're low lives. That's why they hate themselves and they project that hatred onto us. This woman is writing a manifesto in Madison, Wisconsin. There's 3 Black folks in her community. Ain't no Black folks out there. No Black folks going to her schools, but we're the main ones all the hate and contempt is about. These folks live in these segregated enclaves. Your lily white existence. You got everything right there, all right and all white. Black folks ain't doing nothing to you. Black folks don't even live nowhere near you. Yet you're still sitting up writing manifestos. Oh, the Negroes, oh God. Why the Negroes? They're so horrible. What's that Hopper? That what's that dude? That old Hopper wannabe white boy, that Eurasian. What's his name? Who this was about a decade or so ago. I can't think. There was so many of them, but he was another one. He couldn't get no women, and he in his manifesto, he was all upset because the brothers were getting all the women. He's like, oh, I'm 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 white and Asian, and I got a BMW, and all the white women are going for the Negroes. So he was real bent out of shape because of us, because we're the only people who have to get it out the damn mud. We are the only people who we really get it genuinely. They like to project all of this welfare DEI stuff on us, and that's another thing. They have to create some form of discrimination from their own think tanks. They have to create and manufacture fake discrimination like DEI, affirmative action, CRT. Those are their creations. And they have to pretend that they're just so downtrodden because of these little fake ass racial leg ups that we're supposed to be benefiting from, and it's just killing them financially. That's a myth. There's no DEI that we benefit from. These are manufacturings of the white supremacists. So if they run around here yelling, "Oh God, DEI! Oh God, a DEI hire, D." No, ain't no DEI. That benefits white women. That benefits white LGBT, just like affirmative action. That benefits white women, white LGBT, white Hispanic, wannabe white Asians. We're the last beneficiaries of that stuff. CRT, that's another myth that they created. They create these things. They create these narratives. They create these ideologies and then project them onto us as if we are discriminating against them. I saw something with Dr. Phil. He had a show talking about anti-white racism. There's a rise in anti-white racism, and they're up here talking about DEI and all of this garbage. That's them. Now we talk about white supremacy because that's them. That's their word. There is no reverse discrimination where Black people are discriminating against people because we, first of all, don't have the power to do so. There's nothing we're getting exclusively that's not being allowed to all other groups. That's always been a myth. I want y'all to understand, we as Black people, foundational Black Americans, we have never, ever, 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 ever received any type of tangible or social benefit at the exclusion of other groups. At all. Never. When they start talking about affirmative action, we know that's a damn lie. Now that the people in the dominant white society, they get it all the time. They've gotten all types of goodies and set-asides and benefits strictly for them. You think? And then when everything is equal, you want to cry bloody murder. But deep down, these people understand that they have to depend on a welfare system. White supremacy is a welfare system for white people. And they have to depend on that system for a leg up. And Black people, we can still find success in spite of an oppressive system that, one, not doesn't give us anything, doesn't compensate us for the harms that's done to us, and also still sets traps for us so that we cannot be successful. And we still found the wherewithal to be successful in spite of that stuff. Yeah, we still get targeted, just like with the Jay-Z's and the Diddy's and the Cosby's and Michael Jackson and everybody else. But the fact that they need that welfare system to uplift all of these degenerate white supremacists and tear down all of the successful Black people who kind of move and shake around some of the booby traps, that shows how weak inherently the white supremacists are. You're inherently weak. You understand? Because you have to depend on an artificial welfare system that you have to militarily back in order for you to have a leg up against people who are supposed to be inferior.
Get ready to celebrate the holidays in style. Join us for the Rutty Sussy Holiday Season Celebration at the Hidden History Museum in Los Angeles, Saturday, December 21st, 2024, 7 p.m. sharp. Enjoy complimentary dinner and drinks while you laugh the night away. Hosted by Tariq Nasheed and Dwan B. Featuring hilarious performances from Big Jaw, Kevin Tate, Henry Coleman, and more. Tickets are going fast, so don't wait. Visit hiddenhistorymuseum.com to reserve your spot. Don't miss the most festive night of the season. hiddenhistorymuseum.com.